Hi, welcome to the Uplift with Vision. I'm so happy that you joined us again today on Facebook Live. You can also find Vision on the website at visioncsl.org. And we're also on Instagram, so follow us on Instagram, vision_CSL. Good to have you here today. I'm so glad you keep coming back and joining me. I hate to think I'm doing this alone. Thank you for being here. Let's pray in. I give great thanks for this day, for this Saturday, where we can come together virtually, heart to heart, where there is no distance, there is no time, there is only this present moment. It is sacred, it is spirit, loving itself, knowing of itself in form, and we are those forms. So I bless this time that we spend together. I know it is all good, it is all God, and so it is. Good afternoon. So glad you joined me. I'm calling today Sacred Saturday because I think we need a break, don't we? There's just so much going on in the world. Our schedules are all disrupted. Our lives have been turned upside down. We're at home and doing everything that we can to keep ourselves occupied and to not really overthink this thing. But I know it's just such a drastic change. Our lives are just not the same right now. And so I wanted to focus today on Sacred Saturday, so that we can carve out some sacred time for ourselves in our homes, wherever we are, to really, really reconnect with the truth of our lives. And here's what Ernest Holmes had to say about the sacred in the book Pray and Prosper. He said this: all of our memories of the past will be healed, and all the pent-up energies of unexpressed desires will flow out from us in joyful expression if our communion with nature and with the Spirit becomes complete. This is why quiet and secluded spots tend to rest us. But the only quiet and secluded spot in all the universe is at the center of our own being, where pure spirit reigns supreme. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today, is carving out that sacred space for ourselves. Particularly in times like these, we need it more than ever. We need it more than ever. So it's very important to create that sacred space in your home, or in your yard, or whatever space that you would like, that you feel comfortable in. Perhaps you already have one. Maybe you already have a sacred space in your room. You have a meditation room or a prayer room or something like that. And that's wonderful. And I invite you to go there more often in the coming days, because it's the place for you to go to renew and refresh. We need them more than ever. And if you don't have one, today, right after this broadcast, it's the perfect time for you to create one. Joseph Campbell said this. He said, "Your sacred space is where you can find yourself again and again." And I think that that's true. I know that it's true. It is your place to go to remember really who and what you are. So say you don't have a sacred space yet in your home. How do you create one? What is it that you do to create that sacred space in your house? And I think the first thing you want to do is you want to ask yourself the question, what is sacred to me? What is sacred to me? And you'll get a good idea of what your sacred space will look like or feel like when you answer that question for yourself. Is your sacred space your meditation place? Is it a yoga mat? Is it your yoga time? Is it the time in the kitchen when you're creating with food? It'll be different for each one of us. It'll be a different thing. But I know that the best thing for you to do is to dedicate that place, to dedicate that sacred space, whatever it is. Find a spot, find a room, find a place in your home that you can approach with awe. You can remove your shoes before you enter into, because it is a sacred space. The other thing you'd like to do is, in your sacred space, perhaps create an altar. And anything can become a sacred object for your altar. It has to have meaning for you. It doesn't have to have meaning for anybody else, but it has to have meaning for you. Those are the kinds of things that you would put on your altar in your sacred space. And I brought some things here with me right now to kind of share with you. Here's some of the things that I have on my altar. I have my abalone shell and sage, because I burn sage, and so it goes great in the abalone shell. Now, sage can be really too potent for a lot of people. It might be too heavy a scent, so maybe you want to just do maybe an incense or burn a candle, or maybe nothing at all. Maybe you're just not using scents at all, and that's and that makes no sense, right? But it's an object for you that has has special meaning for you. I have also on my altar, I have my meditating Jesus. I don't know if you can see him. He's wonderful. Just kind of reminds me of the sacred quality of meditation. And when I begin my meditation in my sacred space, I have my bowl on the altar that just chimes in that time. So it bookends the time that I'm there in my sacred space, that I'm carving out for myself and only me. So there are some other things that I have. There's this particular stone, I love it. This crystal I got from Sedona. Just brought it back. I just liked it, so I put that on my altar. And of course, I always have a light. It's good to have a light that lights the way all the time. So this one has a little, just a little electric candle, but you can have whatever you'd like to just bring in the light as a symbolic gesture that, Spirit is the light and that we are never alone. So whatever you want to put on your altar, that's your personal sacred objects. They're meaningful to you. They don't have to, and nobody else needs to know what the meaning even is. This is for your sacred space. And then I would suggest that you create a ritual. Whether it is taking your shoes off before you enter your sacred space, or and lighting the candle or the incense or the sage, whatever it is, and then perhaps a prayer ritual that you can engage in. Remember, this is what Joseph Campbell said, when you find yourself over and over, you are here to find yourself over and over. So the ritual has to have meaning for you, and maybe only for you. Perhaps you can begin with the sacred ritual of recognizing the 4 directions, or maybe the 4 sacred elements, earth, air, fire, and water. Maybe your opening ritual is to remember the Christ consciousness within you, or Buddha mind, if that's what you call it. It's a personal thing. It's a way of opening up the space and remembering who and what you are. The author, S. Kelly Harrell, said this: sacred space is another way of saying with intention. With intention. We go in to our sacred space with intention. Not to accomplish anything. We're such doers, right? Not to accomplish anything, but with the intention of being fully present. That's what we're doing. What we remember is that all space is sacred, isn't it, really? We come into our sacred space to remind ourselves, but the earth itself is holy ground, isn't it? Because it is the body of God. It is the natural and logical outpicturing of this sentient energy that knows of itself in form. And the whole earth, the whole universe, then, is holy ground, because it is the physical outpicturing of a spiritual, universal intelligence. So when you enter your sacred space, you're simply acknowledging what is true everywhere is true right there. In your presence, you are standing on holy ground. And so you dedicate that space with intention that you absolutely know this to be true. You are remembering truth when you step into your sacred space. Meister Eckhart said, begin with the heart, for the spring of life arises in the heart. So this way, your sacred space is uniquely yours. And when you enter, enter reverently, enter with awe, enter knowing who and what you are. I want to read this. Ernest Holmes said in The Way Prayer Works, it was a Sunday talk, he said this: "No man shall enter the sacred and secret precinct of the Most High for you or for me, but each in the silence of his own soul, in the integrity of his own spirit, and the volition of his own choice, shall walk into the Holy of Holies and discover the Ark of the Covenant for himself, the sacred scroll where the divine name is inscribed. I am. I am." I'm so grateful to the wise words of Ernest Holmes. So create your space if you don't have it. Absolutely build something that is personal and precious and unique to you. And remember while you're there, remember who you are. So I'm going to pray us out now, and I'm going to pray us out with the words of Ernest Holmes from his radio talk, How to Pray Effectively, from August 19th of 1951. So just get comfortable in your seat, close your eyes, and let us go within. And listen to these words from Ernest Holmes. "As I send out my thought of love to the whole world, I expect it to return to me multiplied. And as I wish good for everyone, I expect that same good will return to my personal experience. I do believe in the availability of divine power, and I believe in the intimate nearness of the one perfect Spirit. I do desire that this Spirit shall influence my every act, because I know that only good can come from God." And so it is. Amen. I want to remind you that there is a global call to pray today at 2 p.m., so a little less than an hour from now, 2 p.m. Pacific time, for each one of us to pray silently in our own sanctuaries, in our own sacred spaces, to pray for 15 minutes from 2 p.m. to 2:15. It is a global call to prayer, and it's simply to know the truth for us, for each other, for the health of the earth and everyone on it. Remember, tomorrow there is no Uplift at 1 p.m. because we are doing our Sunday celebration. 10 a.m. right here in this sanctuary. We'll be live streaming to you our Sunday celebration. Mark will be on the piano. Our guest singer is Rhea Carey. We will have our regular order of service. So please join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. to sing along, to celebrate, and to know the truth for ourselves and for each other. Love to you all from my heart to yours. Have a wonderful Saturday. Bye-bye.